Family and fellow soldiers, I'm the professor, and this is the moment of truth. Yes, we're going to talk about Rihanna again, but before we get into that, I just want to give you a little reminder of what kind of person she is. She thought this was a proper way to present one of our greatest icons to her Twitter followers, who, by the way, are mostly non-black. This kind of crap is normally only reserved for white supremacist websites, yet here you have Rihanna putting out this image of Dr. King. That's the theme of this morning's briefing. A picture speaks 1,000 words, not just about the image, but also about the person who puts it up. What does this one say about Rihanna and her utter disrespect for black Americans? And even though she is not one of us, she cannot trace her ancestry back to the killing fields of the American South. She came here to benefit from what we did. The white media is not going to point out any of the stuff that I just told you. She'll be described simply as black no matter what she does, and they'll use her to give themselves permission to trash our icons and to attack us. See, when you have someone like Rihanna, who is an invention of the white media, you have a puppet. She'll do whatever they ask her to do, but what she won't be doing is mocking or lampooning icons of white society. She knows better than that. She's going to limit her ridicule only to black people, and she'll give these white supremacists permission to do the same. They can hide behind her and say, well, she did it, so it must be okay. You have to take it up with her. She's the one who did it. Of course, when you're a bootlick, you can't stop there. And when it comes to ridiculing black people, you have to volunteer yourself and even your own family to come in for some abuse. So we have Rihanna now being celebrated by the white media because she did a cover for Vogue UK. And this is the cover. She's presented as pulling her fiance, baby daddy. I don't know who or what this guy is, but I know Rihanna's not married right now. So whoever this guy is, he's not her lawfully wedded husband. But the white media can't get enough of this image. They love it. They're just lapping it up like a dog laps up water out of a toilet bowl. Superstar thought Rihanna shown pulling her black male partner by the arm while he's holding their baby. Now, of course, this is meant as visual emasculation first and foremost. The man in this image is not presented as her husband or even her equal. He's presented like a child, and she's shown like a mother having to drag an unruly 10-year-old by the arm through the supermarket. Now, for feminists, this is great because they always love seeing a black man being portrayed and treated as less than a man. But for black women, this is no come-up. This is no compliment. This is a picture of dysfunction, infantilization on the one hand for the black man, and the black woman shown as basically this is the best she can do. This image is meant to say that she's a lone single mother having to take care of a baby as well as a man who's not much different than a baby. Now, you don't see them presenting white men like this. You have never seen an image, much less a cover, of a white media publication or any publication showing a white female celebrity dragging her white partner like a child. They never show a woman of any ethnicity doing that, except black. When it comes to the images of non-black men, the white media is very careful to curate precisely how they're presented. And when it comes to white women, they show that the white woman is a prize. She's not a beleaguered single mother having to drag her family behind her. And the white media knew exactly how this would be received. They knew exactly what the reaction would be, and you can tell because none other than MSNBC came galloping to the rescue to praise this garbage and to tell us all why this is such a great thing.
Who's your MVP, Mar?
My MVP is Rihanna.
Okay, always. Not even this week.
She's the MVP of every week. And it's not because of the Super Bowl performance, though that could have earned her a spot. It's because of her Vogue cover. So she was on the cover of British Vogue, and the photo is of her in front of her husband, leading, he's behind her.
ASAP behind her with the baby.
Sorry, not her husband. I got way ahead of myself. I'm so excited about a potential wedding. Her partner. And she is in front of him, and she's leading him, and he's holding the baby, and the baby is smiling, and the baby looks so happy. And, the cover really triggered a lot of misogynists because she has this very, bold, confident pose. She's leading the man. She looks like she's in charge. But I saw something completely different. I saw a family unit that really supports one another. I saw a woman who is running a business and she's learning how to juggle and manage a family. I saw two partners who were learning how to, everybody can't lead at the same time.
You're giving me the chills.
It was amazing. But the best thing that I saw was the happy baby. That boy's smile could light up a room, and that tells you everything you need to know about the house he's growing up in.
Misogynist be damned. Ron, take us home. You're giving me the chills. Misogynist, be damned.
Well, that was quite the load of nonsense now, wasn't it? This is nothing but pure emasculation, but notice how the white media played this one. They start off by having the black woman says, well, if anybody doesn't like this, it's because they're a misogynist. And the white woman follows up by saying, oh, this gives me chills. This is just wonderful.
The cover really triggered a lot of misogynists.
You're giving me the chills. Misogynist, be damned.
I wonder how many black women vicariously want this. How many black women look at themselves and think this is their ideal relationship, where here she is dragging her man like a child. Basically, you're still stuck as a baby mama even if you have a man. How many black women look at this and say, this is what I aspire to? And notice how they sit there and tell you that you aren't seeing what you clearly see. Oh, well, if you're looking at this and you see subservience, that's because you're a misogynist. What I see is a happy baby, happy family unit. No, what you see is a static portrait of dysfunction. Well, images like this may give Stephanie Ruhle and the rest of the white media chills, but it makes my skin crawl. Stephanie Ruhle has said some stuff in the past that makes me think she's a low-key wannabe Fox News anchor, but she certainly doesn't respect black people. We should say that on the record. But you need to watch out when some casual racist bigot like her says that she likes seeing a picture where a black woman is portrayed leading a black man by the arm like a child, because that's what people like her love so much about this picture. The black woman pulling the black man around like he's a baby in the Walmart who refused to obey. Yet another example that these white feminists will encourage black women to do things that the white feminists would never do and don't do. Stephanie Ruhle is married to a white man. She's got 3 children. And of all the pictures of Stephanie Ruhle and her husband, there's not even one of her pulling him by the arm, leading him around. You won't see Stephanie Ruhle dragging her husband around like an unruly child. If she gets chills seeing a picture of a black woman doing this, then why doesn't she act it out herself in her own life? I'm sure she'd have orgasms over that. Except Stephanie Ruhle already knows better than to try that. She knows her white husband wouldn't go for it, and as a white woman in the white media, she would never present herself to the world as basically a single mother with an infant and a man-child for a partner. Images say a lot. And a picture of a woman dragging her man like a child says that's the best she can do. It degrades him and diminishes her. This is not some you go girl moment. This is a look at these dysfunctional black folks moment. That's the message that they're really sending. And in this case, as part of their white media staged moment, they go ahead and get some black woman to go on camera to sanction it and say it's okay. Remember, this is the same MSNBC where Tiffany Cross was lecturing and berating black men that we need to follow black women's lead. And now you have a white anchor on that very same network making it very clear exactly what that means. But of course, the white media knows they have to give themselves cover, so predictably they have some feminist shill be their crash dummy. The times may change, the people selling the lies may change, but the lies themselves, they remain exactly the same. You know, I'm actually kind of surprised that neither Stephanie Ruhle nor her guest decided to mention Kevin Samuels or Tariq. And notice how they didn't bring on any straight black men to say, well, if you don't like this image, you're a misogynist. They don't bring on any straight black men who are in relationships with black women to praise this, because they can't find any. This is what they had to do. That's why they had to do it this way. Oh, sure, there was a black man at the table, but he's LGBT. He's not in a relationship with a black woman. So if you're going to have an ostensibly straight black woman saying that it's misogynist to criticize this, shouldn't you have a black man up there, a straight black man in a relationship with a black woman to say, that's right, it's misogynist if you criticize this? But that's how the white media deranges the public mind. Glamorizing dysfunction. This is part of the white media's charm offensive in their hopes to appeal to black women. And how did they do it? By using single baby mama imagery. The white media are the absolute masters of attacking people and then using their media to make it seem like it wasn't an attack at all. Why, they bring on some people who will praise the attack and tell you and me that we should be flattered. Well, if this is so darn flattering, why don't they do this with a famous white couple? Why doesn't Stephanie Ruhle do it herself? Rihanna has a long and sordid history of attacking black people, particularly black men, from Chris Brown to Dr. King. But she's not black women's ally either. Rihanna is out to take care of the only person she ever cared about, Rihanna. The white media gives her marching orders and she obeys because that's what a slave does. You can't expect any better or any differently from her. But the black community's not fooled. A white female anchor and a black cable crash dummy aren't enough to con us into not seeing through this racist insult. Rihanna will play her part as a tool, but she'll also be broken in the end because that's what white power always does with its tools. And when that day comes, the exact same white media, including some people like Stephanie Rule, who are pretending to praise Rihanna now, they'll be the ones doing big news stories about the covers chronicling her fall from grace. Now, picture that. Good day, and be one. I'd like to take a moment to mention some of our contributors. Jason Frazier, Frederick Richburg, Deborah Gallman, Black Voltron Reloaded, and Paul Taylor. Salute to them and thank you to everyone for listening, liking, and sharing this message. Black empowerment only exists because of you.